Welcome back. You're watching the game. It was a battle between the two best teams in the NBA. The West came up with the victory as the Denver Nuggets sealed a 12-point win over the Boston Celtics. Still with us to talk about this matchup, our basketball analyst, Tenorio, and Coach Topex Robinson. Coach Topex, I'm going to start off with you here. A lot of people excited that, okay, the two best teams in the NBA, statistically speaking, record speaking, finally matched up against each other. But that does not necessarily mean na, uy, ito na yung finals matchup natin, does it?
It's really a tricky question. Sometimes you get caught up in that number one spot and then there's so much hype into it.
Yeah.
It could be a two-edged sword because first, for Denver, it might be something that they might fall into the trap that they think that they're the number one team, so they're going to have a bigger target on their backs. So there's going to be a lot of pressure. So for me, it's really kind of challenging to stay number one, because you'll know that everybody's ganging up on you.
Yeah.
So it could be something that could be also a blessing by making sure that you're going to protect that. So it could be an inspiration for the team, for Denver, to really hold on to that spot.
Denver Nuggets beating the number one team in the East, the Boston Celtics. LA, you've been in a similar situation. Tinalo niyo yung number one team na Bay Area in the eliminations. Ano ibig sabihin ng panalo na to for Denver in a regular season game against Boston?
It's a big boost of morale, I think, no, sa Denver, no, beating the number one team in Boston, in Eastern Conference standing, no. But Coach Topex is right, eh. Parang ang hirap kasi na masustain yung pagiging number one. No, it's a good win, yes, in the elimination, but it's too early to say kasi na you're in the number one spot right now, and then you're gunning for the final. It's too early to say because it's only 35, 36, 37 games.
Not even halfway.
We're not even halfway, diba? And there's a lot of teams catching up. The Pelicans is playing really well also. The Dallas Mavericks is playing well in a 5 or 6 game winning streak now. So, marami pa pwede mangyari. Plus, Golden State is in a injury mode pa. So, medyo mag-iiba rin kasi yun, pagdating ng playoffs or pagdating ng parang final run ng eliminations, di ba? So, dun talaga lalabas yung kung sino talaga ang makikita natin in the finals or in the playoffs.
Of course, it's going to be a lot different because you never win a championship in January. You're going to win it later on. But Coach Topex, you take a look at the star players here. Of course, Jason Tatum and Nikola Jokic, two of the guys that have really shined and have earned a conversation for MVP at the very least. When you take a look at Nikola Jokic, hulat ka pa ba sa mga ginagawa niya? Because the numbers that he's come up with, incredible. And, sometimes you talk about Nikola Jokic and forget about Luka Doncic. But then Nikola Jokic is something else.
He's solid. Just like what you mentioned, Pao, it's given that he's going to put on those numbers. But what surprises me about him is you don't know when he's going to do it. The good thing about him also is he makes his teammates look good. And that's really his advantage. That makes him a lot of threat in the NBA.
This one I'm going to ask also Coach Topex, no, because I guess you can say na in a similar situation, being not at the top spot there, ang tanong dito, do they need to be at the number one spot at the end of eliminations to really say na we can win the finals? Because you can say Denver right now nasa taas ng standings, but does that necessarily mean na okay, sila na yung favorites for the finals or the championship?
Obviously, they'll be there in finals discussions. Their team will be there. But the question is how you sustain it. It's gonna be hard, obviously, and you keep on catching up to that number one spot. It's gonna be tiring.
And of course, LA, as someone who I know has won championships despite not being the top seed, you've had experience there. At this point of a season, should we not overvalue yung number one seed too much considering that mahaba pa talaga yung season?
Actually, to be honest, no, it's better to have a good position coming into the playoffs rather than, kasi it's added pressure also when you're in the number one seed. Diba? When you're number one seed, then it always happened to my team before, San Antonio Spurs. They're always in the top seed, but they end up not playing in the finals even, right? So it's Coach Topic is right again. It's tiring. It's tiring to sustain in the number one spot, no? And just like last season, I think Golden State is not even the number one in the standing by the end of the elimination, and they won all the way. I think it's I think now in the NBA, they're starting to learn just to be in the right spot. To be, kumbaga, the easiest path, no, to go to the final. Sometimes kasi the number one against the number 8, yung number 8, medyo malakas din, nakakatakot din, di ba?
Yeah.
So, and in NBA now, the way I look at it, it's hard to say. As early as now, it's really hard to say because the number, for now, number 8, I think, parang kaya talunin yung number 1 eh. Di ba?
Yeah.
So, I think the lang talaga, yung proper spot and siguro yung right spot lang for you or the easy way path to get into the playoffs. No?
Yeah, and just a reminder, yung number 9 ngayon, I think, are the Warriors sa
Yeah.
West. So really,
see?
you never know.
And we're happy that Utah
never know.
and Dallas are right sa bigit na. Okay na tayo.
No, Utah's number 10, kaya matakot kayo.